about reports that he's in discussions on a one-year contract extension with the Giants. Tom Coughlin hinted that the deal will get done really soon, saying something to the effect, something will come out on that shortly. The extension would lock him up for 2 more years. There are several people who have voiced their concerns about keeping Coughlin yet again for another year. The Giants have now missed the postseason 3 straight seasons and have posted losing records for the last 2 years. Joining us now is our NFL analyst, Hall of Famer, let's call you Famer, Jerome Bettis. Thank you so much for being here.
And by the way, there's only one bus, and it's not Jim.
It's not Jim. It's right here, sitting with us at the desk. Jerome, and I talked to players on the team and who are not on the team anymore who have voiced concerns about Coughlin. What is your take on them extending his deal?
Initially, I thought to myself, man, this is, I don't think this is that type of scenario. You let him play the contract out from a player perspective the same way. You let him play it out, and then you see if at this point now the game is not past him. Because what's happening is you're seeing this team become a shell of the teams that won championships. But I will say this, he has earned the opportunity to continue to coach. And had he not won championships, I would say, you know what, maybe it's time to move on. But he has the pedigree. He has done it in New York. So you have to extend a little bit more of an olive branch to him and give him the opportunity to turn it around if he can. Now, do I extend him? I let him continue to coach, but I don't know if I would extend him. There comes a point for a head coach that, your analogies, your stories, everything becomes a little stale, it becomes a little old, and you're disconnected. And that becomes a problem when you're trying to now build a young football team into a championship team. And I think that's where they are now. They don't have the veterans that they've had in years past that understood Coach Coughlin, understood his, the way he did things. So now you've got a young team coupled with an older coach who's not necessarily in tune and in touch. That becomes a potential problem. But again, he's earned the right to continue this contract. I would be concerned about the extension, though, from that standpoint.
His voice doesn't register.
It may not to some of the younger players because it's a different era. And so it's a different era of football player as well.
Stephen A.
I don't want to say I disagree with Jerome, but let me say this. I have always been a proponent of Tom Coughlin being shown the door. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. In no way am I questioning his coaching acumen, his coaching ability. The fact that he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion speaks for itself. Tom Coughlin can still coach the game of football in the National Football League. I believe Tom Coughlin is deserving of being a head coach in the NFL. I just get tired of people's unwillingness to embrace the concept and the notion that quite possibly it just may be time for an organization to have a different voice. Tom Coughlin has been in the New York Giants organization for 11 years as his head coach. Yes, they won the Super Bowl title 4 years ago. Yes, they've won 2 Super Bowl titles since 2007. All of that is true. But do you know, with the exception of the 2005 season, Skip and Jerome, and the exception of the 2008 season, in the 11 years Tom Coughlin has coached the Giants, they have never had better than a 9-7 record, with the exception of those 2 years. They have missed the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years. And so it is quite possible that it's not about your ability to coach. It's not about the energy you lack or whatever, because he doesn't lack any energy. He's in shape. He's working out. He's fiery. He's passionate. He dots his I's. He crosses his T's. He's thorough. Nobody can look at Tom Coughlin and question that about him. But as it pertains to the Giants organization, even though I believe he's a leader of men, can you be a leader of these men? It gets to a point in time where sometimes your voice is just not the voice that needs to be heard any longer. Bill Cowher, you can speak to this, Bus. Bill Cowher was an exceptional coach. Went to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. The reality is that once he left, who would have thought that a Mike Tomlin could be found? But he was found. You just get to a point sometimes where you just need a new voice. Sometimes it's not about your abilities. It's about the fact that you just need to do it somewhere else because your time here has grown a bit stale. And that's all I'm saying about Tom Coughlin. He should be a coach in the NFL. I just don't think he should be with the Giants any longer.
I think both of you make really sound and fair points about a coach who will be 69 years of age on opening day. And I must admit, and I'm a diehard Cowboy fan from childhood up, I was surprised by this, and I was actually happy about it because for my Cowboys, it's like, good. Continue on with your mediocrity because as Stephen A. points out, 5 of the last 6 years, you missed the playoffs? Really? So you've been there for 11. You've missed the playoffs 6 total times. 3 of the times you did make the playoffs, you were one and done in the playoffs. And the other 2 times, you went on to win the Super Bowl, but during the regular seasons, those 2 times, you were 10-6 and 9-7, and you were a wild card team that got just incredibly hot at the right time and healthy. And again, your defense was sensational, especially your defensive line, and it just carried you, and your quarterback obviously got crazy hot, got a little lucky. Maybe twice in those 2 Super Bowls. Maybe he got a little lucky. Got a lot lucky, yeah, with the helmet catch. But still, I can't take it away. So they won 2 Super Bowls as a wild card team. But if you look at the big picture of those 11 years, not great. Not meriting, as Jerome points out, this is an extension. He's got 1 year left. And so now they're saying he will be our coach for 2 more years. 2 more years, really. So he will coach into age 70. And Stephen A., you know this as well as I do. The ownership of the Giants loves this man. He's their kind of coach. He's a class act. And they're very comfortable with Tom Coughlin representing the New York Football Giants. And I get that, and I respect the heck out of that. I don't doubt that Tom Coughlin could be a successful coach somewhere else in this league at age 69. I'm not sure it can be with this team where words are starting to ring a little hollow in that locker room, especially, as you point out, for the younger Giants, the Odell Beckham Juniors of the world, who are saying, wow, I don't know, Coach, I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you anymore. Not that he can't coach, because he's an excellent football coach, but is he that guy? And I remember about, going back 5 years ago, at one point, you suggested that your former coach Cowher might be a good fit here. I don't know. Do you still could that be?
I don't think that would be the case. I think Coach Cowher is moved on,
happy,
and he's comfortable.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Staying outside, away from football. But I believe Coach Coughlin, if you believe he can still coach, fine. I don't have a problem with that. Let him play the contract out.
Yeah.
And
you didn't have to give him any more time.
Yeah, and you know what? He was in a very similar situation to this, and they won a championship.
They did.
Okay? So so now you can use the same philosophy that you use yourself as an organization years ago. Do the same thing. Allow him to play it out. If you still believe he can coach this football team, give him that opportunity next year. And then you look at and assess what type of football team you have, what direction you're headed in, and if it is the right direction, then you give him the extension. I don't have a problem with an extension to Coach Coughlin. I believe he is a great coach, but there is a time when you do that, especially not being in the playoffs in the last 5 years. That's an issue. That is a big problem. Everybody's talking about the Cowboys and the fact that they hadn't been in the playoffs for so long until last year. But you have a Giants football team who hasn't been there for 5 years. So I think you have to look at that the same type of way.
Whoa. You don't get to mention the Giants in the same breath as the Cowboys.
Yeah, you do.
The Giants won 2 Super Bowls since 2007. The Cowboys have 2 playoff victories in the last 17 years. The two don't equate. Don't utter that blasphemy.
Okay, I apologize. I apologize.
All right. Okay. You're just saying.
But the team right now, the team that Stephen A. Smith
please,
has already
stop it.
indicated he might pick to win next year's Super Bowl is my Dallas Cowboys. Am I right about that?
You can talk,
No,
Mike, all
you
you
talk.
want to.
You
the
talk.
Giants have 2 Super Bowl rings since 2007. Don't give me maybes. We talking fact here, not emotion.
Yeah, my Cowboys might have one this year.
Oh, Mike,
If
I
it had
said
been
we're not
ruled a
using
catch,
Mike.
because
No
we know it was a
qualifiers.
catch.
No qualifiers.
Yes, it was a catch.
No qualifiers.
Wasn't it a catch?
When we come back, we're
Who
talking
cares?
about
No
Marshawn
comment.
Lynch. You've heard of the saying, "Put your money where your mouth is," or he's actually using his mouth to make money. We'll talk about it in just a few moments.
I'm here so I won't get fined. Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm here so I won't get fined.